Hey guys, so Captain Smash, Ottawa, Ontario. You guys probably haven't seen me on in a little while, and yeah, there's been a lot of stuff going on. So both personal and with the pandemic, everything was just kind of crazy for a long time. And honestly, I just got really lazy with the whole YouTubing and Facebooking, and social media just kind of took a really big spill for me. But I'm back. So a little bit about what's happened. We no longer have the strength lab. Instead, we're training out of another facility here in Ottawa called CSAD, Canadian Strength and Athletic Development Center. So we're still in the training business. We're still rocking it hard. But it's been a long road getting there. I think, I can't even remember how many times the government shut us down, but yeah, it was rough. So we did the full gambit. We tried the online gig, and honestly, I hate virtual training. Like, if I had to do that full time, I would just quit and do something else, because honestly, it's not worth it to me. I'm a very personable live coach, and I enjoy getting to know my clients and know their ins and outs. That way I can better train and coach them. And doing that through a computer screen just doesn't suit me. So anyway, yeah, we're sitting here in my little garage gym that I still have set up just in case. Surprisingly or not, we trained out of my little garage for a better part of a year, in between here and training at clients' houses. And I still tend to go to some clients' houses in between, but yeah, it's just been a completely different environment with the pandemic. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, like in some cases I'm like, well, it was a good thing, and in other cases I'm like, wow, this is the biggest overreaction in the world. So, but that aside, we're still training, and we're dealing with certain issues now. So in 2020, early 2020, before the pandemic, I was diagnosed with osteoarthritis. It spread pretty much throughout my body. I went into the doctor complaining about a very severely swollen right elbow, and we did some testing and an MRI, and boy, that joint doesn't look very good anymore. So it's kind of been a find yourself mission the last couple of years. Probably one of the biggest reasons why I've just kind of lost my mojo for training for quite a while. It took me a while to figure out, like, you know, where do I go from here? You know, I mean, I've had many different philosophical training changes over the years, and this one just kind of slapped me around in the face a few times and just said, you know what, shut up, like, you can't do this anymore. And I don't know, it was like turning 40 was that turning point where some people say, like, the wheels fell off the wagon. And I always imagine that being slightly more gradual, I guess. But yeah, it was really, the wheels fell off the wagon. We got diagnosed with the osteoarthritis, and then I smashed my hip on something, so now I have femoral nerve impingement on that side, which definitely makes squatting and any sort of leg movement really difficult. So all that being said, is we've had some issues and we're working through it, because we're not going to stop training. And I think that's the big message out of this video, is like, you know, my new goals are vastly different than they used to be. Like, I can no longer lift 500 pounds up at a time. Like, I can't sustain the high volume of training that I once did, but I still want to be strong and I still want to be fit. And that's the mainstay of what everybody wants. Like, your goals will change over time, and therefore your methods need to change over time. So in the next segment of my YouTube journey, you're going to see a lot more different exercises that are still challenging, but enable us to exercise without increased joint pain. And I've looked at some other YouTube videos on osteoarthritis and training, and you know what? There's not a whole lot out there. There's not a lot out there for people that are really driven to lift heavy weights and want to get stronger and want to get more hypertrophy and want to develop their bodies to the fullest. So now, I will say that it has changed a lot of things. I mean, the amount of volume that my body can tolerate now is drastically different. I take way more rest days than I ever thought I would. Like, I grew up in the gym and sometimes doing daily doubles, and in the military, sometimes I was exercising 3 times a day. I wiped that all off the slate because honestly, like, the pain afterwards is just not worth it. And so that is kind of the big takeaway there, is like, when you're diagnosed with a condition, or and this could be any injury, but I mean, I'm talking specifically for joint pain and osteoarthritis sufferers, like, you really need to watch how you feel and watch how certain movements feel so you can work around it. Take, for example, like leg press. Like, I've never been a super popular fan of leg press, and I thought, okay, maybe substituting that for a good leg exercise would be better for me. But in my particular scenario, my hips cannot stand the leg press. Like, I have a detailed log of like all the exercises that we do throughout the course of a workout. And I noticed that on a pain tolerance level, after the fact, like a day later, my hip is destroyed. Like, it is not moving. So there's certain exercises that I have to X off my list to be like, okay, unsafe, not worth the issue. It doesn't hurt that bad while I'm doing it, but it definitely hurts later. And so that would be my first recommendation for any osteoarthritis sufferers with particular joint pain. And it doesn't matter what joint it is, just pay attention to the exercises you're doing and what causes you pain, and then see if you can either maneuver around it so that it causes you less pain, or just simply scratch it off your list and be like, okay, next slide, please. The next part of our journey is that oftentimes you want to change your body in order to be less pain. And so, like, I was powerlifting at 230 pounds. And honestly, for me, that was awesome. I felt good, I was big, I was strong. But after I got diagnosed with that condition and dealing with it for a year, like, I finally just said, you know what, it's not worth being this heavy. Like, I bet if I drop some weight, it'll ease some tension off my joints. I won't have to carry as much load around. And so, here we are today, 195 pounds, 200 pounds, fluctuating in between there. And I feel pretty good. I go through most days and I don't have increasing joint pain. As long as I monitor my exercises and I take a rest day when I need to take a rest day, it's all good. So stay tuned for more episodes like this, where we analyze certain exercises and try to get a little bit more out of our training than your typical osteoarthritis program that uses pink dumbbells. I think there's a lot of people out there that want just that little bit extra, because the other side of the coin is mentally, training used to be a release for me, just to keep my headspace and timing firing correctly. And now it's different. It's not the same as being able to pile on heavy weights and take out your frustrations on the world and using that as a mental load. It still feels great, don't get me wrong. Like, not exercising, I'm a basket case, but like, now you're not pushing the envelope if you're of that mindset. If you're hard charging to lift the most amount of weight possible and you really want to succeed at something, well, it's different. And that is going to be part of this journey, as well as dealing with the mental fact of, basically being a has-been, like, can't do it anymore. So it's not anything that anybody can do about it. I mean, like, I don't know where it came from. Maybe it's from, doing so many heavy lifts before. Maybe it's from my dad. My dad suffered from some stuff a little bit too, but it would have been nice to ask him, but like, it's too late now. But we don't know, and we just have to deal with the cards that are dealt. So here we go. We're dealing with the cards that are dealt, and we're going to make the most of it, and we're still going to exercise hard. We're going to train as best we can, and we're going to grow from this. We're going to be stronger after we're done. So I hope you like this. Sorry I was gone for so long, but we're back in action. New goals, different perspective, and maybe something that'll help more people out in the long run. So if you like this, please subscribe to my channel. Give me a big thumbs up if you like what I had to say, and I will see you soon.